Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun.
Good morning, Nick Collier here, and today we've got a fairly interesting little project that could take a little bit of time or it could take a lot of time. We can never tell. This guy, this motorcycle enthusiast called me, or didn't call me, emailed me the other day, or not the other day, actually almost a month ago, because we kind of been dancing around each other for a whole month. And he wants me to make this bracket. I'll bring you in closer so you can see what it is. Now, of course, he sent me some drawings first, and I was really impressed by his engineering because he really got it. He really got how to do this thing. And then he took the drawings to a 3D printer and had this made on a 3D printer so he could test it out and see if it worked on his motorcycle. Now basically this is the axle goes through here, and the brake calipers connect up to here, and then of course these two bolt here's are triangulation for those for the mount itself. And you know, what he wants me to do is he wants me to transfer this information into aluminum. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. I think I can do that. There's going to be some definite undercuts in here that are going to be a little bit weird, but I think it's all doable. So we'll get started. First thing we're going to do, I'll bring it over here. And you know how it is, unless you want to pay super premium prices to have a piece of material cut to the exact size you want it, you're going to get a random piece of some kind of end cut or something like that. And this guy got this on eBay. Basically, it's 2 inches thick by, I think, 8 inches by 6 inches or something like that. And we need to trim it down so that it fits, you know, closer, so I don't have to cut all this away. Plus, we end up with a couple of nice pieces of scrap. So, basically, we start the saw and let the saws begin. All right, this thing's taking forever to cut, so we're gonna try it in our other saw, see how it goes there. Broke. All right, I broke a blade. I think I got another one. Okay, well, I'm lucky because I've got this three-dimensional model to use as my guide. But in another way, we've got all of our measurements laid out in three-dimensional and two-dimensional form. So that's going to make this thing pretty easy. What I have to do, and what basically I think what he's done, well, I don't think, I know what he's done, is he's started from this center hole here. And every measurement comes from that center hole. So we're going to figure out where center is as far as this is concerned. And, you know, we're just going to basically eyeball it here because there's a lot of extra material to play with, as you can tell. And I think I want to come this way just a little bit more. And I would say that's pretty close to center right there. Now what we have to do is come in and find some places to clamp. And that's not going to be an easy thing here. But, and I want to try to clamp it where, you know, it's going to be in the least, in the way the least. So maybe I catch this corner here and see if I can come back in with this slot here and catch this part right here. And then pretty much we're going to drill all of our holes first because those are the most important locations. We'll get all of our holes drilled, and then we'll come back and do the perimeter and do all of the inside dooley bops. Now I need to get a spacer for this, so let me go ramble around, see if I can find some spacers, and I'll be right back. And my favorite spacers are lathe bits, mostly because they're thin and narrow and easy to deal with. And so we'll just kick this up on top of there. We'll kick this one up on top of here, and we've got a third one back over here that will slide in underneath. Bring this back a little bit. And I think we're pretty well centered. Looks good. All right. And if you look, you can see that the dark and the light areas are our exact center line. So I'm seeing that he wants this center line to kind of land just a little bit above this turn here. Well, of course, this model doesn't have that turn. He changed some things on me. That's good. And what I'm doing is I'm going to the center line of the T-slots in this. This is zeroed out totally, so we're good there. Now we want to come in here. All right, we're within about 20 or 30. We've got lots of room on either side to play with. Let's make sure we're set here. Center-wise, we're not, of course. There's center. Let's do it one more time. Pretty good, and pretty good. Okay, so this is where center wants to be. We're going to move our bit in just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna set up the clamps and we'll be back. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is we're going to drill a hole down through the center of this and bore it out to this size, and then we're gonna come in and cut our radius around the outside of this so that that we don't have to worry about in the future.
So for now, we are sitting right on 0. We're going to find a center. Well, that's interesting. Let's tighten the chuck. All right, we went all the way through. What the hell? Next size, 790. So if we went to 700, we'd be fine. Let's go see what kind of drill bit we can find at about 700. Check twice, drill once. 790. So that leaves us 40,000, so that's going to be plenty. All right, let's bring the table down a little further. There we go. Maybe a little faster. Okay, so we got that part done. Now we got to put a boring head in, and I don't know if I have enough room. Knowing that it's not going to be a super accurate one because we haven't got a whole lot of room to play with here, but I want to get this close before. I don't want to make sure, what I want to make sure is that I haven't gone too far before. What's going on? Oh, too big. Or too small. There we go. And make sure we haven't gone too far before I get down to where I want the size to be. And we are at $759. 759, we've got lots of room. We got about 25 thousandths to cut. We'll go ahead and finish that cut. And then, oh, let's speed this thing up a little bit. This little pokey thing's driving me nuts. Well, maybe not that fast. Okay, so we've got our hole bored and we're all set to go there. What we need to do now is cut the perimeter around the outside of this hole. And you can see that in the piece itself. And I believe that center line goes straight down the middle of this dooley bop here. Let me see how square up center line is with, yeah. Center line is totally square up with that line right there. So that's going to be reasonably easy, and it looks like this line too. So that will be fairly easy. All right, so what we've got is, and I believe it's back here, 17 millimeters, which transposes into 669 thousandths radius. So the way we're going to find that is with a tap follower. There's my little tap follower. We're going to pop that in. Oops. There it is. Bring ourselves back up. Okay, and then we are looking at 600 and what? $669 thousandths from center. So 3, 4, 5, 6. $69. Boy, that just barely made it too. Okay, so now we're just going to scribe that, just because we're not sure where our connecting line is. That's good for that. And that's good for that. Well, maybe I should go a little further on the other one. Yeah, that should do the trick. Let's bring it back to 0. There's 0 right there. Lock it. And if everything is parallel, then from our connecting place, let's come back to 0 this way. There's 0, and then we're going to go 669 this way. 669. $666. We want 669. And that should just drop right in. And then we should just strike ourselves a line. And there's our line. And back to 0. $669 on the other side. Drop that down. And we've got our second line. Now take it to 0. And then I just want to strike a line out here just to tell me where to stop my radius. Okay. And I would say that looks pretty good. That's center. Oh, that's not cutting at all. All right. That bit's pretty dull. And we did buy a brand new 1/4 inch bit. For this job, and we will use it. Okay, so we've got our 4 of our 5 holes drilled. This is our last hole, and we're going to go ahead and punch that baby out. Okay, so we've got our holes done, and we're all set to go as far as the layout. Now all we need to do is come in and figure out what our perimeter is going to look like, and then also we've got to do some different height things. So I think we're going to go have a little lunch at this point, and we'll come back and have a little more fun. See you in a few. Okay, so we've got our holes drilled, and those are really, in a sense, the only accurate things that have to be dealt with on this piece. Everything else is reasonably random. Well, not wildly random, but you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a pin down into that hole there, and then drop another pin down into that hole there. That indexes this whole piece so that it's pretty snug. And then we're going to come in and just trace out our perimeter so that we can come in and cut it out with the mill bit. So we've got that, and the places that are actually touching, I can just literally go along with a scribe and cut my lines. Now, the one place that has to be reasonably accurate, there's a little radius right in here. But even that is, you know, it just has to be a clearance radius. Okay, and then the only place we really need to work accurately, well, not even accurately, just reasonably accurately, is these two lines here, and they are already preset because they're parallel to the 90 degrees. So all we have to do is take this thing apart. We've got our basic design drawn. In fact, you know what? No, we can do that later. And we got to make sure we're on 0 or 180, whichever one. And I believe we are. Yep, we're on 180. So then we come in and we strike a line, and we can pretty much use our tap follower just in the drill head, no big deal. Come in this way. Drop our tap follower down. Let's see what we've got here. There it is. You put just a little bit of pressure on it and then drag it across our metal. Okay. And then take the pressure off, come back. Bring it over to the other side. Drop that down. And that looks to me like the number right there. A little bit of pressure. And I think that's going to do it. I believe that this line intersects with this line someplace further up the way there. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's see how it intersects. Yep, that's just about right. I think that's going to be what we want. Now, I noticed that in his drawing, this inside edge was a little different. Notice how that inside edge right there is straight across, but I'm not sure. What he wants to do there. Well, we'll wait for, it's still early in the morning. I think I'll wait for a little while and give him a call after a while. But we can start grinding away at the rest of this. And you know, the way this sits right here, I'm thinking we could bring a toe clamp right in there and clamp that down, and we can get most of our grip. Let's see, a toe clamp that way. Well, actually, that looks pretty good. Can you see that? We're going to just sit it right on top of the little notched number. Let's see if it'll hold or not. Yeah, looks pretty good. Now, what can we take off? I'm thinking probably the better thing would be to loosen this and swing it out onto this edge out here. Okay. Good and tight. It's kind of clamping out on one end though, and notice how this this little guy has kind of loosened up. So I'm not sure. You know what I think might be a really cool thing to do at this point is to come in and literally saw off all this excess stuff rather than try to cut it off. So let's do that, and we can come back to this center line and reset this thing. And in reality, we don't need to do anything but just reset it to kind of get a random, or not random, but just a semi-accurate measurement. Let's just take it apart and recut it. And we're going to go over the saw. We'll be back. Okay, now we're squaring up that first surface, and it's going to be one surface after another.